Hello, this is Jeff Evans taking you through the level 3 spreadsheets for accounting assessment. So the practice 1. So you'll notice on the right hand side, I've basically got the assessment. And on the left hand side, I've downloaded the assessment book. So that's that one. So I've downloaded it. So I'll take you through each stage. We might do it in 2 recordings, but we'll see how it goes. So the first one, it says open the assessment workbook, which is what I've done. It said you must save your work using an XLSX file. So in other words, what you'll need to do once you've downloaded it is save it as, so as you can see, SPSH, and then your AAT number .xlsx. That's what you need to do, okay? So I'm just going to do all the formulas and calculations that you need to do. So it says open the worksheet called Profitability, which is this one, and insert a header with Coco's Bakery and the current date. So this should be entered as a field. Both must be right aligned. So I'll just make it bigger for you. So I'm going to go to insert and then a header and a footer. And we'll do it on the right here. And it was Coco's Bakery. And then it wants the date. You'll notice at the top here, you've got these other functions. So you can actually add the current date in here. So you can see Sunday today. Look, so 22nd of the 5th. So we've done Coco's Bakery. I'll just go to normal view. So we've done that. So I'll tick it off as we're going along. So here. So we've done Coco's Bakery and the current date. Right aligned. Then it says a profitability worksheet contains an incomplete budget for the next 6 months. The sales and cost of sales relating to this period are shown in the worksheet called sales _ cost of sales. So in essence, what it's saying, we've not got the sales or cost of sales in this workbook, but we've got them here, this one, at the bottom, see? So in that particular tab, so we've got sales here, total sales, and we got cost of sales here. That's what we're asking us to do. So it said, Code has also mentioned to you that one of the formulas used to calculate total expenses in row 11 was inaccurate. So complete the incorrect calculation. So let's have a look. So it explains that one of these total expenses is incorrect. Is that one okay? Yep, that's got all the expenses C6 to C10. I suspect it's this one, see? So when I double click on it, you'll see it's only got E7, so it's missed out the rent, isn't it? So I'm just going to drag that up to make sure it covers the rent. And now we've got that figure correct. So I can tick that one off. And now it says insert, so use a formula to insert the total from the sales worksheet in rows 3 and 4 of the profitability worksheet. So what it's basically saying now is we're going to put the sales figure in. So equals, and then go to the other workbook. We've got total sales here of 6187. So we've just copied it from that worksheet. I'm going to drag it across. So we've covered the sales figures, just double check. So for June, yeah, 14,549. That's correct. And same for cost of sales. So equals, and then go on to the cost of sales figure, which is 372. And then again, drag it over. Okay, done that one. So we've done those 2 tasks. Whoops, not done this one. It says now use a formula to calculate the gross profit for each month and also to calculate the profit for each month. So the gross profit figure and then the net profit figure. Okay, so let's do that. So it tells you there, doesn't it? It tells you what the formulas are. So gross profit, as you know, is sales minus cost of sales. So equals sales minus cost of sales gives us gross profit of 5815. Again, I can drag that over. So we've done that one. And then it says to do the profit for each month. So gross profit minus expenses. So again, so equals gross profit, which is 5815, minus the total expenses, which gives us 3045. Again, we can drag it over. So we've got the correct figures in. So we've done that one. Now it says format the worksheet as follows. So format cells B3 to B12 to currency, show the figures to 2 decimal places. So B3 down to G12. I always tend to go right click, format cells. Yep. And he wants it to currency and to 2 decimal places. Still got the currency on there. Let's do it again. Format cells, currency. There we go. So it's got the pound sign. So we've done that. So the currency, and it's to 2 decimal places as well. Okay. Next thing it says is to display the column headings in B to G as bold and double underline. So these headings of months, I want to make them bold. So let's go home, literally, bold. And then he wants it double underlined. So that little box here where you've got the borders, you'll find one in there that says top and bottom. We want the double bottom one there. So bottom double border. So watch. So if I click on it, it puts on the bottom double border, which is what it's asking us to do. So that's fine. So we've done that. And now it says insert a row between rows 12 and 13. So there's a space between the table and the profit margin. Then it says format the cells B14 to G14 to show 2 decimal places. And then we're going to do the formulas that do our profit margins. Okay. So first thing we go is going to insert a row between 12 and 13. So I'm going to click on 13 here. Then right click and insert. So I've put a row in, okay? And then we're going to format the cells, B14. So B14 right through to G14. And it tells us to do it to percentages to 2 decimal places. So right click, format cells, and this time it's to percentage to 2 decimal places. So we've done that. And then starting in B14, it says, use a formula to calculate the profit margin for each month as a percentage to 2 decimal places. We've already done the format, so we just need to do the profit margin now, which you know is your gross profit divided by your sales revenue. So equals, so gross profit divided by sales gives us our gross profit margin. I've done that wrong. It's not that much, is it? It's the B5. It's just we're doing profit margin, not gross profit margin. It's the profit margin. Sorry, it's me. So it's the profit margin, not gross profit margin. So it's the profit for the month divided by the sales, which gives us our net profit margin, which is 49.22. So just over 49 pence in the pound. Again, we could drag it over. It did tell you on there. I should have read it properly, shouldn't I? It says profit margin divided profit by the month as represented a percentage. So it's a profit by the month, not the gross profit margin as I did. So there we go. Let's tick those off. We're now going to merge the cells in row 1 so that the title is centered over all the data from A to G. So all that's basically saying is we're going to highlight that heading. So we're going to merge and center. So here, so it says merge and center. So we've now put it in the middle as is required. So we've merged and centered it. And now it says freeze the worksheet so that column A and rows 1 and 2 are always visible. Okay, so it's basically saying that as we move this up, yeah, the 2 top rows won't move. And also column A, if we move it across, will also stay, okay? What I tend to do when I'm doing the freeze panes, if you just click on the column, you can see A, okay? So we want this one to freeze, and also columns 1 and 2. So where it crosses, certainly the A column and the bottom of the rows column, so here, so in B3, that's where I'm going to freeze the frames, because that'll be frozen, but also the top 2 lines. Okay, so again, where it joins the columns and the rows that you want to freeze. So watch that. So I'm going to go on to, I always forget which ones it's on now. Is it on review or something? I forget. Let me double check. Freeze. There it is. No, it's not. There it is. Sorry, it's on view. Okay, so go to view. Start again. So again, so I'm in B3. So watch what happens when I freeze the frames. So I freeze the frame, and you see, so rows 1 and 2 stay the same. Yeah, and also when I move it across, column A stays. You see, so imagine if you had loads of data to the right, it just means you can keep your columns so you can see what the titles are. Yeah, and then similarly, if you've got loads of information in your rows, then you can see what each of those month sales are going to be. So again, so where it joins, so A, yeah, and then we're also, it meets with the rows, so B3, and that's where we've frozen the panes. Okay, so let's just finish that one off. It says now, set the worksheet to show all formulas. It says, take a screenshot to capture the evidence of this skill. It said, paste the screenshot into the worksheet, called screenshot. Once you've done this, set the worksheet to show the values again, okay? And we're going to rename the screenshot worksheet called formula. So watch. So I'm going to here now, and it wants us to show the formulas. So if you go on to formulas on the top here, there's a little tab that says show formulas. So we've done that. So we've got the formulas. And it wants us to do a screenshot. I tend to use the snipper tool, for the snipping tool. So I'm just going to show you. It's easy with mine to do the snip. So click OK. And I'm just going to copy it over. Oops, that's very good, is it? Let's do it again. You missed off some of the data. Okay, so it's just showing that you understand how to do the formulas, that you've done it properly. So when they're marking it, they can just check, such as these things here. Okay, so then edit, copy. So I'm going to go to the screenshot worksheet. I'm going to paste it in. So there we go. So there's the formulas, and I'm going to change the name of this worksheet to formulas by right-clicking and then rename, and I'll call it formulas. O-R-M-U-L-A-S. Okay, so we've done that. And then it tells us to change this back to the value. So all you do is the same as we did before. So go on to formulas, but this time just see it's highlighted, just click it and it takes it back to as it was before. Okay. So that's that one. So we've done that particular task now. Okay. And let's do the other one. So for task 2. So task 2 says that Cohen wants to review his pricing and produce of a new price list for July 20X1. He has provided you with a current inventory sheet showing the unit sales price and the cost price of these products. So this is his price list. Okay, so we've got these category of cakes, and then we've got the items of the different types, and then the selling price, and then the cost price. Okay. It then says, so open the worksheet called price list, which is what we've done. And it says apply data validation to say cell A3 to A20 to ensure that only the categories can be entered into those shown in cells K3 to K5. Okay, so data validation. So what it basically means is from these rows from A3 down to A20. All you can type in there are large cakes, miscellaneous and small cakes. It won't allow you to type anything else. So it's data validation. So let me show you what we do. So if we go on to data, so don't forget, what's conditional formatting? Data, there we go. Yep, so we've got data, obviously. So data validation. So if you click on data validation here, okay, what's it asking us to do? So we're going to look at this list. So watch them highlight the list. And then it says, so which list do you want to set as the categories? So I'm going to click on the source here. So it's these cakes there. Okay. So I'll show you in a minute. So what happens if I try to type anything other than that in these cells, it won't allow me to. But when we did this on the synoptic assessment on level 3, in the old days on 2016 standard, we used to input an error message. So sometimes it might ask you, to put an error message in here to say, you can only enter the details from the categories of cakes into those particular cells. And then when you did that, it would come up when you go to try to put something in. It doesn't ask us to do that, so I'm just going to click OK. So the list, which is here. So first thing we do is we highlight the cells it tells us to, then go on to data validation, as we've done here, highlight the list, and then where is the source of the information, which is here. So watch, if I go to type anything in here now, it won't allow me to, see? So the value doesn't match the data validation restrictions. Okay, it won't allow me to. It'll let me type in, let's say miscellaneous here, it'll let me put large cakes in, okay? Because that's within that particular rule, isn't it? Let's take that back. Okay, so that's data validation. So we've done that. Okay. It says now that Cone is going to increase all his selling prices by 8%, and the price is rounded down to the nearest penny. Okay, so it says use the appropriate rounding formula to calculate the new selling price of each inventory items in cells F3 to F20. Okay, so it's an 8% increase. So that selling price, we're going to increase by 8%, but it wants us to round it down using the round down formula. So watch, so equals, and then start typing. So we can see round down. Okay, so click on round down. So we'll do the formula first. So we're going to go sales price, which is C3, multiplied by, so times 1, so by itself, 0.08, which is an 8% increase. Okay, so 15 times 1.08 is an 8% increase. It now wants us to do it to the nearest penny, so to 2 decimal places, and it will automatically round down. So to do that, we're just going to do a comma and then 2, okay? And it rounds it down to 2 decimal places. Okay, so then close the brackets, and we can see we've got £16.20 is the selling price. So watch, so now I can drag it down, and it will have rounded them all down to the nearest penny. See? You can watch that back, just remind yourself how to do it. So we've done that one. We've rounded it down to the nearest penny using the appropriate formula. It says in F21, use a function, not a formula, to identify the average mean of the new selling prices for July 20X1. So what it wants us to do here, it wants us to use a formula, yeah, and so a function and not a formula. So a formula is equals average, yeah. Is it here? But it doesn't want us to use that. It wants us to use a function and be able to check to see if you've done that. So watch, if you go to formulas here, and I'm going to insert a function. So here, insert a function. And I'm going to type in here, average. There we go. It tells you to type in what you want. So A-V-E-R-A-G-E. So average, okay. So I'm going to click OK. So there's the average function. So click OK. And then it says, so the average of what? So look, we're going to highlight what we want to do an average of, which is F3 down to F20. You'll see. So we've done F3 to F20. And then I'm going to click OK. You see, and that's done an average. I mean, I know the formula looks the same, but what they'll do when they do the checking to make sure you've used the function, they'll just check it by checking the function here. See? So if that doesn't show when you've done the assessment, it means you've not used the function, you've just used the formula. So make sure you get that right. Okay. So we've done that one. And then the next one says, so format the cells worksheet. So cells E1 to F21 are coloured yellow. The font should remain the same. So all it's basically saying is just highlight this over here. I've got mine there, so I'm just going to call it, I'm going to fill it. It's not the font, it's there, isn't it? It's that one. Fill, sorry, the fill colour. So we just filled in the colour yellow, which is what they've asked us to do. I think I'll try and carry on, just to, hopefully my video doesn't stop recording, but we'll see how it goes. So we've done that one. Let's go on to this one. So it says, Cohen has asked you to complete an invoice to Woodhead's Cafe using the new prices. It says, open a new worksheet called Invoice, which is this one, okay? And it says, use the appropriate lookup function to populate the cells C19 to C20 for the products in B19 and B20 using the increased pricing on the price list worksheet. Okay, it says protect the worksheet so that users of the worksheet are only able to enter the data. I'll come back to that. So what it's basically asking us is to find the price of the sponge cake using the VLOOKUP function in this price list. So in this particular table, okay? So it wants us to find the sponge cake in that list, in this list of details here, or in these things we're going to highlight in a minute, to then identify what the price of that will be. You can see the sponge cake there is £10.80. So hopefully we shall do it right. So let's have a look. So in here now, we're going to do equals. Actually, I don't need to, I'll do it on the functions. I'm going to go to functions. So you've got all the lookup functions here. So we're going to go to VLOOKUP. Okay. So what is it we're looking for? We're looking for B19, which is the sponge cake. And where are we going to find it? In which table? So what? So we go to the table array now. So we go to the price list and we're going to highlight over the items and then over to the sales prices over here. Okay. And you'll notice that's B2 to F20. I also want to find out some other products as well, the price. I can't see on the invoice number. I need to find out the price of another item as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make these cells absolute. So in other words, they stay the same when I'm looking for certain data. My computer's not got an F4 on it. So I normally do F4, which put dollar signs on either side of these formulas here. So either side of the B. And because I've not got F4, I'm just going to type dollar sign either side of the B, because that fixes the cell. And then also for the F. So dollar signs either side of the F. Okay, so that fixes that table when I'm looking for information. All right, so we're looking at B19, which was the sponge cake. In the table, which we've done here, so B2 to F20. And then it says, so where, the column index number, so where is the price, okay? And it was in, I'm sure it was in column 5, just let me double check. So column 5, I know it was, I'll come back and show you that a bit. So column 5, you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll see the changed prices are in column 5. When it says to the range lookup, you'll see there it's got 86 pence, because what it's doing is it's looking for the nearest price in that particular column for the product, for the sponge cake. We don't want the nearest, we want the actual. So it tells you here in this column, so this column here, sorry. So range lookup is a logical value to find the closest match in the first column, sorted in ascending order. Okay, so it equals true or omitted. That's if you want to find the nearest, but we don't. We want to find the exact match. We want to find the exact price of the sponge cake at 20 centimetres. So I'm going to type false because we want the exact price. Okay, and you'll see it's £10.80. So click OK. And that's £10.80. See? So I'll just show you the formula again by clicking on the function. I'll just show you that column 5 again. So column 5 is that one there, is it? See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we've basically done, we've looked up that product, sponge cake, so B19, in this table from B2 down to F20. And then looking, we want to know what the price is of that particular item, which is in column 5. And that's what we've done in relation to the invoice. When I said about the absolute cells, I've fixed those cells now. So I can also do the same for sponge cake. So watch when I drag it down. See, pop cake 4 is 86 pence. But you see what's happened to the table, that stayed the same because I've fixed them. So it still says B20 to F20. So I've had loads of products that I needed in here. I could just type the products in and then, and just drag it down because the table will still be the same, the B2 to F20, but then it would change to suit the particular product that we're after. So pop cake 4 is 86 pence. Is that right? Pop cake 4. There it is 86 pence. So it's found it for us. And then it's done the invoice. Okay, let's have a look what we're asked to do. So we've done that. So we've done the invoice. I'm going to protect the worksheet in a minute. So we've done use the appropriate lookup function. So it now says protect the worksheet. So the users of the worksheet are only able to enter data in A19. So in here to D32. He said, do not use a password. Okay, so it wants us to password protect. Okay, so this here, it wants us to be able to type information in here, but not anywhere else in relation to this particular invoice. So the way I tend to do this is I'm going to highlight them all first. Okay, because when it comes to data protection and things, we've got these, all the cells tend to be locked. Let me show you. So if I go to format cells and right click, and you go to protection, Excel automatically locks all the cells, okay? So if we were to go to protect, it means it would lock them all and we won't be able to put anything in. So we're going to be selective on what it is that we want to protect, as it said before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unlock all of those cells. So they're all unlocked, okay? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight Coco's Bakery. So this is the bit we can't type into. And then I'm going to press Control. And I'm going to highlight over here as well. And then I'm going to lock those cells. So right click, format cells, and I'm going to lock them. Okay. So these are locked and these aren't locked. So we should be able to type in here in a minute. I'm going to protect the sheet first. So protect the sheet. And it says protect the worksheet and general content of locked cells. Okay. So remember, these are locked and these are not locked. So it should let me type in here. It does, you see. But what it doesn't let me do is type in here because these are protected, see? Okay, so we're going to highlight it all first to unlock it. So we're up here. We can watch it back, can't you? So we highlight it across here. Right click, format cells, blah, blah, blah. And then we unlocked it. You can watch it back if need be. So again, so we can type in here now to our heart's content, but we can't type in the other bits because the cells are protected. Okay, so we've done that. And then it says change the print settings so the invoice will print out on one page and in portrait orientation. You must not print out the invoice. So again, so what we're going to do here now is just showing that you can do the print function properly. So watch, I'm going to go to File and Print. Okay, but it only wants us to print off this particular invoice. So we're going to change the landscape to portrait, okay? And we're going to scale it so it fits onto one page, as you can see here. But it doesn't want us to print, okay? Which is fine. So we're going to go back here now. So we've done that. So we're going to go back to complete the task on there. So watch what happens. So when they come to market, so if I go to file and print, see, it does it automatically because that's how it's set. So they'll do that just to check that you've done it correctly. Okay. I think what I'm going to do at this moment in time, just because I'm having problems with the recordings over a period of time, is I'm going to finish at this point and then I'll do the next task on a separate one. So we've done that, task 1 to 3. I'll do task 4 and 5 next. Okay. So I'll stop sharing.